The sun was barely up, and yet the lecture hall already buzzed with tension. "Move your stupid bag, Blaze. This seat's mine." Blaze tilted his head without looking up from his phone. "Huh? I don't see your name on it, Sunshine. I swear to God, stop calling me that." Rowan snapped, dropping his coffee onto the desk with an aggressive force. "You know my name." Blaze finally lifted his eyes, an infuriating smirk tugging at his lips. "Yeah, but Sunshine pisses you off." Rowan growled, fists clenching. "You are the most annoying person I've ever met. Do you ever relax, or is your spine just permanently jammed up your ass?" Blaze retorted. "Mr. West, Mr. Arden." Professor Valencia's voice was sharp, silencing every head that had slowly started turning toward the drama. The two boys froze mid-glare as the woman in heels stalked down the aisle with a murderous look on her face. Blaze leaned back with a dramatic sigh. "Here comes the fun police." Rowan hissed under his breath, "Shut up before she shoves her sarcasm somewhere uncomfortable." "Mr. Arden, is there a reason you felt the need to audition for a reality show in my lecture hall this morning?" Professor Valencia raised a perfectly arched brow. She stopped directly in front of them, arms crossed. Rowan sat up straight, muttering, "He started it. You'd have disrupted my class millions of times. I'm tired of the constant bickering. The eye daggers, yes, I've seen those, and last week's incident with the broken projector. Don't think I didn't know it was you." Blaze looked genuinely offended. "That was technically an accident." Rowan scoffed. "You knocked it over with your big dumb foot. It was an elegant trip, thank you." "Shut up, both of you." The professor pulled something from her sleek leather bag. The room went dead silent. "Are those?" Rowan's voice cracked. "Handcuffs," Professor Valencia confirmed casually. "University approved. Very fashionable." She held the cuffs up. "You two are going to be joined at the wrist for 1 week." The entire class gasped, phones coming out, ready to capture the drama. Rowan stood up. "That's illegal." Blaze grinned. "That's hot." Professor Valencia snapped the cuffs open with a sharp flick. "Extend your left wrist, gentlemen." Rowan looked like he might combust. "I'm not wearing that with him. You should have thought about that before turning every class into a boxing match. I can't even stand him." Valencia rolled her eyes and grabbed Blaze's arm first. "Mr. West, wrist, now." Blaze extended it, not even trying to refuse. She clicked the cuff closed around him, then turned to Rowan, who had taken a step back in horror. "Now, yes." Blaze wiggled his cuffed hand at Rowan. "Come on, babe, don't leave me hanging." Rowan swatted at him, but Valencia caught his wrist with shocking speed, locking the second cuff in place before he could escape. "What the?" Blaze laughed. "This is gonna be fun." Rowan tried to yank his hand away, only for Blaze's arm to follow, dragging him half over the desk. "My life is over." Professor Valencia rolled her eyes. "You'll remain cuffed during all waking hours for 7 days. I will supervise. Your classmates will report. If either of you tries to tamper with them, what happens?" Blaze asked. Valencia smiled sweetly. "I'll extend how long you remain cuffed to each other." Rowan groaned like he'd been shot. "Please don't do this. Please, I have a system. I study at specific times. I sit in specific seats. I can't even." "Learn to adapt," she said, already walking away. "And boys." They looked up in horror. "Try not to murder each other. Or do. I'm tired." The class erupted into laughter as Blaze leaned back, now forced to pull Rowan with him. "Well, Sunshine," he said, "looks like we're dating now." An hour later, the second Professor Valencia dismissed the class with a tired flick of her wrist. Rowan was already on his feet. "Professor, wait please." Blaze barely had time to react before he was yanked forward by their joined wrists, almost tripping. "Whoa, Sunshine, we gotta work on your leash manners." Rowan didn't even acknowledge him. "Professor Valencia," Rowan called again, pushing past students and flinging open the lecture hall doors. Blaze stumbled along behind him, laughing breathlessly. "Can't we at least pretend this is a cute couples thing?" "Shut up." Rowan finally caught her just before she reached the elevator, panting. "Please, Professor, please, reconsider. This is a human rights violation." Valencia turned and phased. "Mr. Arden, is there a problem?" Rowan raised their cuffed wrists in the air. Yes, there's a huge problem. This is the problem. I can't spend a week attached to him. I'll lose my mind. Valencia tapped the elevator button, completely unbothered. You're being dramatic. I'm being reasonable. You've met him right. Blaze waved cheerfully. Hi, Professor. I think this is bringing us closer already. Stop enjoying this, Rowan snapped, trying to yank away again, but only succeeded in jerking Blaze sideways so hard he knocked into a potted plant. You're gonna break my wrist, Blaze groaned. Professor Valencia stepped into the elevator, holding the door with one hand. Mr. Arden, I admire your passion, but you've been warned multiple times about your outbursts. But he's the one to blame. Valencia smiled sweetly. Consider it an opportunity to grow. And maybe develop social skills. I have social skills. You threatened to sharpen a pencil through his throat last week. It was a figure of speech. I'm sure the dean will agree. The doors began to close. Rowan began stepping forward to get in the elevator, determined to convince her to remove the cuffs, but Blaze held him back with a firm tug. Let it go, babe. She's not gonna save us. Don't babe me. The elevator doors slid shut, leaving Rowan standing there defeated. A long pause followed. Then Blaze said, So, do we hold hands now or? Rowan turned to him slowly, eyes murderous. I am one bad moment away from chewing through my own wrist. Could be hot. I'm into it. Rowan groaned and turned around. Today is the worst. They started walking down the hall, arms swinging awkwardly in sync. So, Blaze said, glancing at him, how do you want to do this? Do I get visiting rights to your dorm, or are we moving in together now? We are not moving in together. They exited the building, still bickering, their cuffed hands drawing stares from everyone they passed. It was now evening, officially time to go home. Well, Blaze said, swinging their joined wrists between them, end of the day. Time to head home and contemplate all the poor choices that led us here. Rowan rolled his eyes, turned on his heel and started storming off down the east path toward the dorms, only to be yanked back like a misbehaving puppy on a leash. Oh, what the hell? I don't live that way, Blaze said calmly, gesturing in the exact opposite direction. My apartment's over there. Rowan blinked. What? You heard me. You don't live in the dorms. Blaze snorted. Do I look like I suffer in shared laundry rooms? Rowan gestured between them. We are handcuffed. How are we supposed to go to two different places? Blaze just shrugged. Rowan groaned and rubbed his face. Fine, we'll go to my dorm. It's closer. You can sleep on the floor or something. The floor, Blaze blinked. Do I look like a roach to you? Yes, a loud, annoying one. Blaze gave a mock-offended gasp. You wound me. You'll live. Rowan stomped off in his direction this time, yanking Blaze along. They reached the door to Rowan's dorm room, a cramped but neat single suite, a tiny bed, and a desk lined with highlighters. Blaze looked around, unimpressed. Wow, so this is what dying of boredom looks like. Rowan kicked the door closed behind them. Make yourself at home, and by that, I mean sit down and shut up. He started fumbling with his laptop bag, trying to unclip it with one hand. Blaze helpfully sat down on the bed, dragging Rowan halfway with him in the process. Dude, sit somewhere else. There's nowhere else. Right. Rowan stared at the one bed. The very narrow twin bed. His eyes narrowed. You're sleeping on the floor. I'll get you a blanket. Blaze flopped back on the mattress. You're so controlling. No wonder you don't have a boyfriend. Rowan froze. How do you know I don't have a boyfriend? Blaze smirked at the ceiling. Because no one could survive you long enough to commit. Ouch. Rowan opened his mouth, then closed it. Whatever. He turned away to dig out a blanket from his storage bin with one free hand. Blaze's eyes trailed over his back, watching the way Rowan's shirt rode up just a little as he bent down. You have kind of a nice butt, you know, Blaze said casually. Rowan hit his head on the shelf. What is wrong with you? Blaze shrugged. I speak truths. Rowan threw the blanket at his face. 15 minutes later, the two of them sat on the bed, awkwardly side by side, handcuffed together, legs brushing. Rowan was clearly trying to make himself as small as possible. They both slid under the covers. Blaze took up more space than should be legal, and their hands rested awkwardly between them. Do you always sleep curled in a ball? Blaze asked. I don't want contact. Blaze smirked. Kinda hard to avoid. Rowan rolled his eyes. Just don't snore. I don't snore. Happer. Rowan shoved him lightly. Shut up. Rowan closed his eyes, trying to fall asleep as quickly as possible. Blaze's voice broke the silence a few seconds later. "You're not wearing pants." Rowan's eyes snapped open. "I am wearing boxes." "Same thing. It's cute." Rowan hissed, turning away. His face was already bright red, and Blaze just grinned into the pillow. "Night sunshine." "Don't call me that." That night, Rowan had slept maybe 4 minutes total. Between Blaze hogging the blanket and accidentally throwing a leg over him at 3 a.m. murmuring, "Don't run, baby," into his ear, he was running purely on spite. And now, he was about to face his final boss. The shared dorm showers. "I hate everything about this," Rowan muttered, clutching his towel. Blaze stretched beside him, shirtless, wearing only a pair of sweatpants slung way too low. He looked well-rested, which only made Rowan angrier. They stood outside the tiny, tiled dorm bathroom, where 5 stalls and 3 shower cubicles offered zero privacy. Blaze grinned. "All right, so what's the plan, roomie?" "There's no plan," Rowan snapped. "We just improvise." They both shuffled into a shower cubicle, squeezing through the narrow door. Immediately, their elbows collided, toes stepped on each other, and the handcuff chain got tangled in Rowan's towel. "Dude, move." "I can. I'm trying to keep your bony elbow from stabbing my nipple." Rowan groaned. "Just turn around so we're back to back." "I don't think that's going to work. But all right." They turned at the same time, and the handcuff chain twisted. They both froze. "I think we're stuck," Blaze said slowly. No, I refuse." "You gotta admit," Blaze said, grinning, "this is low-key intimate. I feel closer to you already. You're about to feel my fist in your ribs." They finally managed to entangle themselves with a lot of awkward adjusting. After a chaotic shower where water sprayed everywhere, they emerged from the dorm bathroom, damp, exhausted, and traumatized. Rowan scowled as they shuffled back into his dorm room in dripping towels, handcuffed and defeated. Back in the room, Rowan grabbed a clean shirt and boxes from his drawer with one hand. "Okay, you change facing that wall. I'll change facing this wall. No peeking." "I never peek," Blaze said smoothly, turning his back with a dramatic sigh. "But if you accidentally drop that towel, I won't be mad." Rowan rolled his eyes and yanked his towel off, pulling on his boxes as fast as he can with one hand. He had just gotten his shirt halfway over his head when he heard a voice. "Yo, Rowan, you left your holy hell, what am I looking at?" The door had swung open. Rowan's friend Theo stood frozen in the doorway, mouth open, eyes wide. Rowan and Blaze both turned, still shirtless and handcuffed, standing way too close together. Blaze smirked. "Well, this is awkward." "Nitrogen monoxide it's not," Rowan snapped. "This isn't what IT looks like." Theo blinked again. "It looks like you guys just did the horizontal homework and forgot to unlock yourselves." Rowan nearly choked on his own tongue. "We showered. That's it. You showered together." Rowan pointed at the handcuffs. "Professor Valencia did this. We were forced. There was no consenting involved." "Wait, no, not like that." Theo held up his hands. "I didn't need to know all that. You know what? I'm just gonna leave your headphones here, and I'm gonna go bleach my brain." He dropped the headphones on the desk and slowly backed out like he'd just walked into a crime scene. After a long silence, Blaze let out a choked laugh. "Horizontal homework. I'm gonna cry," Rowan whined, looking like he actually was about to cry. By the time they made it to their afternoon lecture, Rowan was dead inside. He could feel the stares before they even walked in. Every head turned. "Oh my God, that's them. Did you hear? They're totally together. I heard they showered together. That's hot." Blaze grinned like a demon. "Wow, fame hits fast, huh?" Rowan hissed under his breath. "Shut up." They shuffled to their seats, sitting down side by side. The moment Rowan pulled out his notebook, a girl leaned over from the next row. She gave him a huge smile. "So, are you two like a thing now?" Rowan blinked. "What?" Blaze leaned in with a smirk. "We prefer the term star-crossed soulmates." The girl clapped. "That's so cute." Rowan turned red. "We are not dating." "Not yet," Blaze added, winking. "We're taking things slow. We're handcuffed." "Exactly," Blaze said smoothly. "That's commitment." Rowan slammed his head onto his desk. "Sweetie," the girl whispered to him, "you could just admit you like him. Your ears are super red." Blaze raised an eyebrow. "Are they? Let me check." He leaned in close, tilting Rowan's face by the chin, gaze dropping to his lips for one too long second. Rowan slapped his hand away. Stop flirting. But you're so fun when you're mad. Right then, the lecture hall door creaked open, and in walked the woman of the hour herself. Professor Valencia. Elegant, perfect red lipstick, holding a manila folder. She narrowed her eyes the second she spotted them. Blaze and Rowan instantly froze. Oh, she walked down the aisle with the grace of someone who knew she controlled everyone's future. Handcuffed, seated together, and not fighting. I'm impressed. Rowan sat up straighter. Professor, I really think I'm not taking them off, she cut in sweetly. You still have 5 days left. Blaze held up their joined wrists. But what if one of us develops feelings? Rowan groaned, please don't. Professor Valencia smirked, even better. Maybe you'll stop wasting energy on fights and redirect that tension somewhere productive. Rowan turned red. Besides, she added, tapping her folder, I hear you've already been very close this morning. Rowan buried his face in his hands. I want to die. She turned and walked back to the front of the class to start the lecture. The second Professor Valencia ended her lecture and dismissed the class, Rowan snatched his phone out of his pocket. He stood up and started walking toward the hallway, Blaze involuntarily following him. He hit Theo's name and put the phone on speaker, holding it awkwardly between their joined wrists as it rang. After 2 rings, Theo picked up with a cheerful, Hey, don't be cute with me, Rowan snapped. Explain why everyone in class thinks I'm dating Blaze. Blaze gave a pleased little hum. You asked about me first. Shut up, Theo snorted. Maybe because I walked in on you both shirtless, handcuffed, and staring at each other like a Wattpad cover. Rowan groaned. You said you wouldn't say anything. I didn't, Theo said defensively. I only told my boyfriend. Zane, you told Zane. Blaze raised his eyebrows. Wait, isn't Zane the guy who runs that Campus D account? Rowan smacked his forehead against the wall. Exactly. Theo winced. Okay, yeah, but I figured if I said don't tell anyone, he'd get it. The last time you said that, he live tweeted our drama. I mean, Theo mumbled, he got 300 likes for that thread. Rowan dragged a hand down his face. Unbelievable. You're complicit. Sorry, Theo said unapologetically. The rumor already has fan art though. Zane sent me a drawing of you sitting in Blaze's lap and feeding him strawberries. Rowan went absolutely silent in disbelief. Blaze grinned. Can I see it? No. Rowan snapped and ended the call without saying goodbye. They headed toward the dorm in stiff silence. But then, right as they passed the turn toward his building, Blaze suddenly stopped walking. Rowan blinked. What? Blaze scratched the back of his neck. I kinda don't feel like going back to the dorm. Too bad. No, I mean, what if we go to my place instead? Rowan blinked. What? Blaze shrugged like it was no big deal. My apartment's 10 minutes away. It's chill. My roommate's gone for 2 weeks. There's better shower and actual food. Rowan squinted. Why do you sound like you're trying to sell it to me? Because you're stubborn, Blaze said. Rowan rolled his eyes at that. Fine, he muttered. But I swear, if your place is haunted or gross, I'm leaving. Blaze smirked. You'll love it. By the time they reached Blaze's apartment, Rowan was already suspicious. The building was too nice. You live here? Rowan asked. Blaze grinned and unlocked the door. Welcome to my lair. Rowan stepped inside and immediately froze. It was cozy. Not just clean for a guy cozy, but soft lighting, fluffy couch throws, indie records on a shelf, and candles that smelled really nice. Rowan squinted. Okay, what the hell? Told you I had ambience, Blaze said proudly. Lighting a candle with the flick of a match, he tugged Rowan toward the kitchen. Come on, time to feed you. You're cranky when you're hungry. Blaze opened the fridge with their conjoined hands. Okay, what are you feeling? I've got eggs, kimchi, rice. Why do you have more food than the campus cafeteria? Because I'm a functioning adult. He winked. Rowan groaned. I don't think this is gonna work. We should just order. It's fine, Blaze insisted. We'll make kimchi fried rice. Just follow my lead. Spoiler, they did not follow anyone's lead. It was chaos. Rowan tried to chop scallions with his non-dominant hand while Blaze stirred the pan. Their wrists got tangled every few seconds. Rice flew. A spoon fell. Blaze bumped Rowan's elbow mid-pour and spilled soy sauce everywhere. And somehow, both of their shirts came off halfway through. Blaze claimed it was to avoid stains, but Rowan was convinced it was just a thirst trap move. "Don't ogle me," Blaze said, noticing Rowan glanced down at his abs. "I'm not." "You're blushing. It's the steam." Blaze leaned in. "Steam can't make your ears red, sweetheart." Some minutes later, dinner was surprisingly good. They sat on the couch eating from the same bowl, mostly because Rowan had already given up arguing for the day. "Now, it's almost midnight and time to sleep." Rowan stared at the bedroom door. "Okay, where do I sleep?" Blaze shrugged. "There's only one bed. I can sleep on the floor." Blaze gave him a look. "Rowan, you'll be sore by morning." "Fine, I'll take one side of the bed. You stay on yours." They entered the room. The bed was not a king, not even a queen. It was a narrow, tiny bed. They slowly lay awkwardly back to back. Their handcuffed wrists stuck out weirdly between them. "Stop shifting," Rowan hissed. "You're the one stabbing me with your elbows. Your thigh is on my leg." Blaze suddenly turned, chest pressing lightly into Rowan's back. Their joined hands fell between them. Rowan froze. "I swear to God," he muttered, "if you spoon me, I will throw myself out the window." Blaze whispered against his neck, "Good night, ape." Rowan nearly combusted. A few minutes later, Rowan still laid rigid on the bed. Blaze, of course, was already asleep. Rowan glared at the back of Blaze's head. "Do not be cute while unconscious." He spent the next 20 minutes trying to create distance, but Blaze just kept scooting closer, even in sleep. "Why are you like this?" Rowan hissed as Blaze rolled, thigh flopping dangerously close to Rowan's. And then, it happened. Blaze mumbled something unintelligible against Rowan's neck, and slid an arm around his waist. "Nope, no, what are you?" Rowan stammered, squirming. "You're sleep spooning." Rowan tried to twist out of it, but Blaze just sighed sleepily and tightened his hold. "I hate this," Rowan muttered. But 5 minutes passed, and Blaze was warm, and he smelled really good. And the soft breaths against the nape of Rowan's neck were weirdly comforting. So eventually, Rowan gave in with a groan. "Whatever, just don't do anything weird." Rowan woke to the sunlight warming his face, and something solid against his back. Something very solid. He blinked sleepily. Blaze was still asleep behind him, face buried in Rowan's neck, breathing slow and deep. But there was definitely something poking him, right under his ass. Rowan's eyes went wide. He slowly glanced down at where Blaze's hips were pressed against him and felt his soul leave his body. "Oh my God." He froze. "Oh my God." It was Blaze's morning wood. Rowan let out a strangled sound. "Oh my God, oh my God." Blaze shifted slightly and let out a pleased little moan. Rowan screamed and flailed, trying to free their handcuffed arms. "Wake up and get your crotch off me." Blaze blinked sleepily. "What? Why are you hard?" Blaze stared for a beat, then blinked again, and smirked. "Oh, morning wood. Standard biological process. Don't give me a science excuse. I get morning woods too, but I don't have it pressed on someone's ass when I wake up." Blaze stretched lazily, fully unapologetic, hips accidentally bumping Rowan again. "Well, you're feisty in the mornings." Rowan had never hated a day off more in his life. It was a few minutes later, and he sat stiffly on the edge of Blaze's very soft couch, sipping water like it might help rinse out the memory of Blaze's morning with stabbing him. Blaze was way too relaxed, lounging in sweats and a loose tank top, one hand casually resting on their joined wrists, the other flipping through a streaming menu. "We could watch that vampire show," Blaze suggested. "The hot one with the shirtless guy who bites his roommates." Rowan shot him a look. "Why are all your show picks weirdly perverted?" Blaze tilted his head. "I could ask you the same thing for the way you were moaning in your sleep." Rowan choked on his water. "I wasn't." Blaze smirked like he'd just won the lottery. "Relax, I was kidding. You were just mumbling about boundaries and no touching." "I hate you." "Still cuddled me though." "I was cold. You're built like a radiator." You noticed my hot body." Rowan groaned and flopped back onto the couch dramatically. "Can we just watch something normal before I punch you?" Blaze grinned and scrolled. "Sure, but we're watching in my position." He tugged Rowan closer. Before Rowan could protest, Blaze yanked him down so his head landed right on Blaze's chest. "What the Blaze?" "Shh." Rowan tried to sit up, but Blaze tightened the arm around him. "This is against my will." Rowan muttered. Sure, sure, Blaze said lazily. 10 minutes into Netflix and chill. Rowan was trying so hard to ignore the slow way Blaze's thumb rubbed over the back of his hand. It was subtle and innocent, except it wasn't, because Blaze kept glancing down at him. I can feel you thinking dirty thoughts, Blaze said casually. Rowan bolted upright. I was thinking about murdering you. With tongue. Shut up. Blaze laughed and stood up, tugging Rowan along. Come on, let's eat. They ordered Korean takeout, and when the food arrived, Blaze refused to let Rowan use his own hand. Nope, Blaze said, stealing the chopsticks. I'll feed you. What? I can feed myself. Your right wrist is handcuffed to mine. If you eat with your left hand, you'll knock over the kimchi again. I'm helping. I swear, you enjoy this too much. Obviously, Blaze said, and fed Rowan a bite of spicy rice. By evening, they decided to finally take a shower. Okay, Rowan said, arms crossed, staring at the fogged-up glass of Blaze's sleek shower. This is a bad idea. Blaze stood beside him, towel slung low on his hips, smirking. Come on, we've done this before, or would you prefer we sponge bathe in the kitchen sink? This is practical. Rowan sighed and turned away as Blaze dropped his towel. Blaze stepped in, pulling Rowan in with the handcuffs. It was hot, and Blaze was close. They bumped elbows as they tried not to mistakenly look at each other. Then Blaze, smiling like a devil, turned around, lathered shampoo into his hands, and started massaging Rowan's scalp. What are you doing? Washing your hair, princess. I can do it myself. Blaze just grinned, still washing Rowan's hair. After the shower, back in Blaze's room, wrapped in towels, Rowan flopped onto the bed, grumbling. My wrist is sore from all your jerking around. Blaze went over and sat beside Rowan, kneeling slightly over him. Here, let me help. What are you doing now? But Blaze was already uncapping a bottle of lotion from the bedside table. I don't need that. Shut up, you're tense. Blaze took Rowan's wrist gently, massaging slow circles into the red marks on his skin. Rowan tried very hard to ignore how careful his hands were, how his thumbs pressed into all the sore spots and made his breath catch in his throat. Rowan accidentally let out a soft sigh and Blaze paused, eyes flicking up to meet his. Oh, what was that? Nothing. I was sighing because you're annoying. Sounded more like a moan to me. Rowan opened his mouth to insult him, but Blaze shifted closer, their faces suddenly inches apart. Rowan, Blaze said softly, all joking gone. Rowan blinked. What? You're really cute when you let your guard down. Rowan's heart thudded so loud, he was sure Blaze could hear it. Blaze, he started to say, but Blaze leaned back with a grin before Rowan could even process it. Let's get dressed. I'm starving. Rowan lay there, brain fully fried. That night, they changed into sleepwear and got into bed. Rowan stayed as far on the edge as possible. Blaze was quiet, lying beside him, already sleeping. Rowan turned his head slightly to look at Blaze. He didn't look like a menace now. He looked soft and peaceful. Rowan hesitated. Then slowly, he inched closer. Rowan carefully tucked himself under the blanket beside him, and Blaze's body heat warmed him up. Rowan sighed softly, drifting into sleep. But that didn't last long. In the middle of the night, Rowan stirred awake in the dark, confused. And then he felt it. A strong arm wrapped around his waist. And worse, Blaze's breath, hot and slow, brushing the back of his neck. But that wasn't even the most dangerous part. Blaze was awake. Blaze shifted slightly behind him, just enough for Rowan to definitely feel the length pressing lightly against the back of his thigh. Rowan whispered, Are you serious right now? Blaze hummed against his shoulder. His voice was sleepy. Didn't mean to wake you, sweetheart. Are you spooning me on purpose? Technically, you crawled over here first. Rowan turned his head to glare at him, but he didn't deny it. Stop breathing on me, Rowan said instead. Say that again, but slower. Rowan rolled onto his back in defeat, yanking Blaze's arm off, but that only twisted them worse, and suddenly Blaze was over him, Blaze's leg tangled with his. This was hell, sexy hell. Wanna play a game? Blaze murmured. Rowan blinked. What kind of game? Truth or dare? It's tradition when two people are trapped together overnight. You made that up. Yup. Rowan hesitated. Fine. Truth. Blaze grinned wickedly. What do you really think of me? I think you're hot garbage in an expensive jacket. Youth. He clutched his heart. Okay, my turn. Dare. Rowan stared at him. I dare you to shut up for 5 minutes. Nope. Howard's answer. Rowan narrowed his eyes. Fine. I dare you to. He looked around the room, frustrated and flustered. Take off your shirt. Blaze raised a brow. Horny already. Shut up and do it. Blaze sat up slowly and peeled off his tank top in one smooth motion, tossing it aside like it offended him. His chest was lean, tan and stupidly defined. You staring, babe? I'm judging your life choices. Sure you are. Blaze leaned over him again. Your turn. Rowan gulped. Truth. Blaze's voice dropped a little. Have you ever thought about kissing me? Rowan's brain short-circuited. What the hell kind of question is that? Blaze tilted his head. Eyes hungry now. Just say yes or no. Rowan opened his mouth to say no, but what came out was, shut up. Oh, Blaze's grin deepened. That's not a no. Rowan growled. There. Blaze looked at him like he was the prize. I dare you to come sit in my lap. Rowan blinked. No. Chicken. I am not. You scared you'll enjoy it too much. I'm scared you will, and I'll have to live with the trauma. But Blaze was leaning back now, smirking as he opened his arms. Come on, princess. You want to. I can see it. Rowan hesitated. Then, like something snapped, he sat up and swung one leg over. In one fluid motion, Rowan straddled Blaze's lap, his knees on either side, hands planted on his bare shoulders. Blaze's breath hitched. Well shit, he said softly, looking up at him. Rowan's voice came low and dangerous. Still think I won't do it. Blaze's hands went to Rowan's thighs, gripping them slowly, possessively. You have no idea what you just started. It should have been a joke. Just another dare. Something Rowan could walk off with a snarky comment. But then Blaze's hand slid from his thighs to his hips, and everything changed. You okay up there? Blaze murmured, voice low and teasing. Rowan cleared his throat. Perfectly fine. You're shaking. I'm not. You are, Blaze said, his thumbs rubbing slow, hypnotic circles against Rowan's hips. You always get fidgety when you're nervous. I'm not nervous. You're in my lap, handcuffed to me, in the middle of the night. No escape. If I wanted to. Blaze leaned in, brushing his lips near Rowan's ear. I could keep teasing you until you broke. The end of part 1.